Good evening. Caught me at that last 30-second mark. I think the YouTube timer still has a couple seconds on it, so bear with me while I just make sure that this video is marked public on my personal page so that it is viewable. Otherwise, comments that are made on my personal page would not show up in our comment section. So on my personal page, our Freethinkers Facebook page, and on the YouTube channel, if you comment in the comment section or if you chat in the live section on YouTube, those comments do pop up in our comment section here. And so we can engage with y'all in those comments too. Oftentimes we'll throw your comment up on the screen so everybody can see what kind of feedback we're getting. But anyways, welcome to the show. Welcome to Free Thinkers. It is another Tuesday episode of your favorite Tuesday night talk show, Free Thinkers, where we generally will have a topic of discussion and we just openly talk about it. We like to think of ourselves as free thinkers, open-minded people, honest people, transparent people. We just have a desire to have just deep discussions and discussions that we feel like people should be having, that a lot of people don't have, won't have, or for whatever reason can't have, but we like to have some pretty intense conversations often. So that's what Free Thinkers is. We've been doing this every Tuesday night as Free Thinkers now over 5 years. So we've been doing this for a while. We take every once in a blue moon off, but we do this every single Tuesday. You do not have to tap in every Tuesday, or you can tap in every Tuesday. Of course, we love to have people join us every Tuesday. But it's a come and go as you please thing. You know, some people come for weeks and months. Some people don't come much at all. Some people come every once in a blue moon. It's totally up to you how you engage with us. But you certainly can engage on our Facebook page with us daily. You can engage with us on our YouTube channel by way of watching videos. And of course, you can engage with us here on the live show that we do every Tuesday night. Some people are not comfortable going live, and that's okay. That's why a lot of our Free Thinkers family engages on our Facebook page. So do join the Facebook page for Free Thinkers if you have not yet, because that's where we have just a lot of our daily conversations. And oftentimes when we do our pick a post topics for these shows, that's where we get all of those things from, is the stuff that people post on the Facebook page. So we have a variety of conversations all day, every day on the Facebook channel. And then, of course, our YouTube channel is just where all of our videos are stored. So a couple places, a couple ways that you can join us. But would love to have you come into a panel, have a discussion, you know, be a part of the conversation. So feel free to join in. We prefer that you join in at the beginning of the conversation, just so that you can be, current with what we're talking about. But if you tap in late, that's okay. If you need to tap out a little bit early, that's okay too. You know, sometimes people say it gets a little bit late when they're on the East Coast, and we get that. We do go from 8:05 to 9:30. Sometimes we'll push it to 10. Just kind of depends on how the flow of the conversation is going. But usually till 9:30 is the minimum time that we'll be on here from 8:05 to 9:30. And that's pretty much it. Adult topics, adult content. It's totally up to you who you want to listen to or not listen to the show. Totally your call. Tonight, I probably would not have the kids listening to this show. So you might want to just save this for the grown-ups. No major disclaimers. Just sometimes our conversations are definitely not geared for children. Not yet, anyway. And I think that's pretty much it in terms of introduction. Of course, share the page, please. Share, hit the share button. If you're watching us, thank you. Hello, what's up? We love you. Thank you for your support. Hit the share button, please. Really and truly, that's the best way that you can high five of us and give us hugs and dap and love, is hit the share button. Invite people to the page, tell people about Free Thinkers, come be a part of Free Thinkers, engage with us, come to church on Tuesdays, church, no church, and just be a part of this thing. Tonight we have a good topic. I don't know if Q's been racking his brain a little bit thinking about some things about this, but I certainly have. And we've talked about this for a couple weeks, just this topic thought. And so tonight we're going to talk about right ways to do wrong. are there right ways to do wrong? Is there such thing as doing right when you're doing wrong? Can you do right when you're doing wrong? Like all of these things, the right way to do wrong? So that's what we're going to talk about tonight. If you have some ideas brewing in your mind, for those of you that are watching us right now, of scenarios that you know are wrong, that you could do right, or scenarios that you've been involved with where it was really crummy, but like if this didn't happen, it would have been worse. Like, right ways to do wrong. Share those with us in the comment section, and we can talk about your thoughts too if you don't want to jump into the live conversation. And this conversation is not just like a relationship specific conversation. Just think of all the different ways that you can do wrong stuff, but like right ways to do it. So Q, I'm gonna let you start because I believe this was your idea, like a couple weeks ago.
Was my idea. Absolutely.
So what made you think about this?
Just thinking of different. I don't know what made me think of it, but just different things. I'm always looking for just different topics that we have not covered.
Right, something fresh, something new.
And you know what? And let me say it, like, I think also there's been so many instances and situations where a lot of people come, like they message me or they call me. A lot of people always looking for advice. Okay. And a lot of advice, when people are asking advice, they're telling me stories about different things going on in their lives. And there's been a lot of situations where it's acknowledged that I know this ain't right, but this is what we did. So even in you can't always navigate through the perfect scenario. Sometimes when those mishaps have already occurred, you have to navigate from where you are currently in the situation. So you can't tell nobody, well, you just
shouldn't be there.
You shouldn't do this. After you've already done it, then okay, yeah, I got that part, but that's not helping me. Or there's other situations too, like even and you may know this, and I don't know how far you subscribe to it, but sometimes people have addictions.
Oh yeah.
And sometimes it could be drugs, sometimes it could be addicted to a person. Sometimes you could be addicted to it. There's a lot of things you can be addicted to. So in the midst of that, just say, well, the key is don't do it. Yeah, in perfect world, that is true. In a perfect world, that's the optimal, option you should take.
Right.
But while people are navigating through it and they are continuing, like, hey, if you're going to continue to do this, there's certain things that would. So, excuse me. And I'm a person who we had this conversation a while ago, but I'm a person who believes in minimizing damage.
Right.
Minimizing
the least amount of collateral damage possible.
You heard me. There's a lot of there. So I'm not one of those people, and I'm gonna ask you first before we even jump into it. How do you view it? Is right and wrong, or do you view it? Yes, there's right, there's wrong, but there are varying levels between completely right and completely wrong. Straight black and white, or is it shades of gray in between?
I want to say it's black and white, but that goes back to it being a perfect world. I think that the gray that there is some wiggle room for is a very, very, very thin line of gray, like almost indistinctive, like you almost don't know that it's there. Because I don't generally waver from right versus wrong. The right thing is the right thing, the wrong thing is the wrong thing. And I understand even sometimes doing the wrong thing for the right reasons, it's still wrong. So I think there's there's a very small margin of gray. Okay. I'm not gonna be ignorant to say no. There's just no exceptions to the rules. Like it's just no. Yeah.
Okay, I got you.
Stokely. I feel about
Stokely. Is right and wrong, or are there varying levels between right and wrong? Are there gray areas between right and wrong?
Stokey look like he's underwater.
Mm-hmm.
You must be on a different screen or your Wi-Fi. It's raining in Dallas right now.
I can redo it real quick. I can go out.
No, you're all right.
You just super pixel.
You just got a little Jerry Curl juice on his camera. That's all.
No, right.
Maybe that's it. Maybe like wipe your screen right in front of your camera. Not with your greasy finger.
Whatever. Yeah, all right. Whatever. He back in 1992 still. That's all.
Wow.
That wasn't a bad year. I'm just saying.
It was horrible. 92. No, it was a good year.
No.
Came out of college.
I'm sorry.
Right is right and wrong is wrong to me. I mean,
okay.
I don't know that I have the. I just feel like right is right and wrong is wrong, and like Nikki just said, sometimes you have to do wrong to kind of get the outcome that should be right. But I genuinely feel, if you do wrong, you're just wrong. And right is right.
So you don't believe in the varying levels of
the levels to right and wrong?
But like what people say is there's always an exception to the rule. Do you believe that there's just certain minute exceptions to the rule? Or
there are exceptions to the rule.
Okay.
So then is right and wrong?
See, now you jam me up.
It's like a really thin line of gray. It's like really thin line because sometimes.
Yeah. Sometimes you have to do what you have to do.
But you're right. I'm with you, Stokely. Right is right and wrong is wrong, straight up. Like, I don't generally mix the two.
Right.
Okay. Right. So let me say this. So as we go into this conversation, this is how I want to do this, because I know there's some real sensitive people who may be watching this, and I want to make sure we cover all bases. And I had so many people tell me not to do this that I was compelled to do it.
And you told me, and I was stoked because I was like, hell yeah.
A lot of people told me like, no, don't do this. I'm like, I don't know. I mean, we definitely gonna do it.
He said, I'm taking it to freethinkers then, because we're gonna talk about it over there.
So what I want to do first, I'm gonna get into. I got some categories. I don't know, Nick, if you got some categories. I'm breaking this down. First, I have 5 different sexual categories that we're gonna get into, and then I have some other ones. And then let me tell me if you have some additional ones that I missed out on.
Okay.
Now, the first thing I want to do is I want to acknowledge why what we talk about is wrong, why it's wrong, and what are the consequences of doing things wrong. So we're gonna go full scope on it. We ain't gonna just sit there and tell you how to skate around on it. We're gonna tell you why in a perfect world you shouldn't do it, if that's what you believe. So first place I'm going, and the first one I'm gonna do is pretty controversial, because depending on your upbringing, you may not consider this wrong. So the first one, and this is, biblical. I looked at the Mount Rushmore of biblical sins, and one of the first ones is fornication. Mm-hmm. Fornication is simply having sex outside of marriage. Some people view that as wrong. Some people don't view it as wrong.
Is fornication sex outside of marriage, or fornication just sex?
It's sex when you're not married. It's
okay. Sex when you're not married is fornication. Okay.
Correct. You
I just thought fornication was just sex.
No, because if you married, then you're not fornicating.
Well, that's what I'm saying. I thought that it was just sex, but right. I see fornication as definition is unmarried people. Okay. Yes. Okay.
Engaging in sexual activity.
So what is adultery?
We're gonna get to that next.
Okay.
Right.
But adultery.
Look, Wiz ain't been out in a minute. He's so happy he ain't gotta be at work.
I just want to ask questions.
No, that's good. But adultery is a married person who has sex outside of their
marriage.
So it's the two people can be having sex, and one person could be committing adultery, and the other person may just be committing fornication.
Lord.
Because
that's a whole lot of side. That's a lot of stepping outside.
So an unmarried person doesn't commit adultery; they commit fornication. So let me ask first, how do you feel that fornication is wrong? I'm gonna open this up to everybody. Having sex outside of marriage, do you believe that it's wrong or immoral, or how do you view it?
Having sex unmarried or having sex outside of your marriage?
Being unmarried and having sex.
Okay, because that's not because that can be interpreted differently. So being
Right,
unmarried and having sex. Okay.
Correct.
Y'all fellas, y'all want to answer?
I think it depends on what your religious belief is.
I'm asking you, Wiz, what's your personal opinion on it?
Okay, no, I don't feel like is wrong because we're conscious beings, so it's two people making a conscious decision to connect. So I don't feel like in the natural it's wrong, but if we're talking about in the spiritual and all this other stuff, then that's up to that. But in the natural, if you have an attraction, two people have an attraction, they're conscious of what they want to do, like what's wrong about that?
Okay, good. I got a follow up to that. Stokely, is fornication wrong?
No. And I'm gonna say that because I just got married not long ago. So if it is wrong, nigga, I've been wrong for 50-some years.
He said, I don't want to be right.
Right.
But, no, see, I think what it is we're so stuck on what is the norm and what we've been told and taught. And so therefore, you're told that is wrong, being raised and being told that is wrong. Mm-hmm. I've never met a parent that says, yeah, that's okay, that's good, go ahead. But we're just taught that it's wrong. So no, I say no, it's not. I mean, like Wiz says, if it's two people, consenting adults, able to make decisions.
Well, hold on, Stokely. Oh, now what about two consenting teenagers?
Okay, now we splitting hairs, but I mean, I think that you have those situations where, see.
I mean, even
that's what I like.
That's the gray I'm talking about.
Yeah, see. I don't know. Now, let me think about that part of it.
Even in that, it's still the responsibility part of it. What I'm talking about is two conscious people, meaning they can be responsible for the outcome. Two teenagers, I mean, they're still teenagers, so in that context, nah, because you can't be responsible for the result necessarily.
That makes sense.
Ooh. Okay, so that's a little gray area. So now the fornication it's not wrong in your eyes as long as two adults, but if it's
minor.
See, but see,
I mean,
I got you with that. But sex don't factor in age like that. When a person hits puberty,
it's still that, right? But that's in the context of adult supervision. So I feel like it's not going to stop it, but it may not be appropriate. Just like if you're 14, you may be mature enough, but you're still not old enough to drive a car. Like I was driving a car long before I was old enough to drive a car.
So you are old enough to drive a car. You just wasn't legally old enough. They
legally
told you
I was
drive a car.
right. So
because I had cousins and people like that in Tennessee, they was 11, 12 driving cars around.
Right. Mm-hmm. But legally in our society, that's still not right. So that's what I'm saying. Right.
Okay.
So two teens can't go get married, but they can make a baby. So the natural law is always, to me, is going to supersede what law we have.
Man's law.
So is it a sin? No. Is it appropriate in our society because how we're conditioned? Right. No, either. So two things can be right, I think.
Okay. We gauging right now. I appreciate
it. That's a great point though. Like there's a lot of separation.
Nikki, what you think?
What was the question? Oh, do I do anything wrong?
Do you think fornication is wrong?
No.
Okay.
No, not at all. I think sex is great. Sex is wonderful. Sex is beautiful. Sex can be a phenomenal thing. I think sex can be a lot of things. I think that with the proper education and you know, like you said, the responsibility, understanding the responsibility and consequences of. No, I think it could be a. No, I don't think there's nothing wrong with it. No.
So let me explore this. We're going to explore this first. Do you think that there are consequences to people having sex when they're in and not being married? Do you think there's consequences to it?
I think there's consequences having sex, period, whether you're married or not. I think that the same problems that you can have unmarried with sex are the same problems you can have married with sex. I think married with sex might even be more challenging because you're legally fucking bound to figure some things
so that's
out or
kind of
make
where I'm getting to. So,
you know,
so answer me this. Do you think there's any obstacles that separately presents itself for people who fornicate versus, like you said, there's a lot of problems in multiple arenas no matter what you do, but is there a specific problem for people who fornicate or just have sex that someone you're not married to or not legally committed to? Is there any type of additional
yeah, like if a woman were to get pregnant outside of a committed marriage and relationship, that could certainly pose a problem, right? Because maybe they were never ready. Maybe that's not what they wanted to even do. Like, but she got pregnant type situation. So now we have to deal with this, as opposed to we're married. It happened. Okay, now we're going to deal with this together, but we're together, as opposed to maybe she just got pregnant having, you know, sex with somebody. That certainly could pose an issue for an unmarried couple as opposed to a married couple, right?
Right. I guess. Okay, so we acknowledge that there could be potential obstacles in any form of sex. So let's go here, and then we're gonna jump down to the next one. Dang, I don't want to ask this question. Like, what is the responsible way to fornicate? Or if y'all don't use that terminology, what's the responsible way to have sex with someone that you're not married to?
What's the responsible way? The responsible way is to be fucking honest. The responsible way.
There you go. That's what I'm saying. Okay.
The responsible way is to be honest. The responsible way is to be
honest
transparent. You know, the responsible way is to be honest. That's it. Just be honest. That's what the responsible thing. That's the most responsible thing you can do in any relationship is just be honest. Period.
Honest. Yeah.
I think that's, because anything other than that is going to be irresponsible, reckless, selfish, damaging, manipulative. So just being honest takes all that shit off the table.
Like just being honest about where you are.
Yeah.
With yourself. Like, okay, I'm not ready for a relationship.
Right.
I'm moving. And that's a better segue than, ooh, baby, ooh, baby, ooh, baby, ooh, baby, to get the draws. And then, shit. Now it's a relationship when it was really not even intended on that.
Right.
So honesty is the best policy, especially on where you are, like in your life. You know what I'm saying?
I agree.
And I think to go along with consequence, Q, like to what Wiz said, if you don't know where you are in life, if you don't know what you want, then the consequence for having sex with that person is now you got to take on that questionable shit. Like, so if you don't know what you want, if you don't know what you are, if you don't know where you stand with you probably shouldn't be having sex at all. Like straight up, because you are putting out this confusing energy, and that's unfair.
Sex is not for mature people though.
Like it's for mature.
No, it's not. Follow what I'm saying.
It's not for mature.
Follow what I'm saying. It's not exclusively for mature. There's nothing about you having to be mature in order to have the desire or the ability to have sex.
I mean, that's true. Anybody can fuck. So
that's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying.
If it works, you can do it.
So you don't have to be mature. I guess what I'm saying is you can't rely on the other person to be responsible. Or I think like what Wiz said, you really gotta be honest, and that includes being honest with yourself, being honest with the person. So that will be one of my things. If you gonna do it, be honest with your space. Don't be honest with as far as relationally where you are and how close of a relationship you want to have with somebody. Don't, like he said, don't be lying to get the draws. Don't Don't be doing
Never.
all this love talking. I want to be with you talking. That ain't really where you
That
at.
ain't really where you at.
Right.
See, that's how you get stalkers, and that's how you
This
get
and that.
your
So those are the
car
consequences
keyed,
to
and that's
sex. Is not being
yes.
truthful. Absolutely.
To doing it improperly, then those are the consequences. So to minimize, like I said, minimizing the crazy deranged person who gonna be stalking you, sitting in the tree looking through with some binoculars, key in your car, showing up to your job,
Showing up at work,
commenting on every person who comment on your Facebook.
Ooh,
page,
got fake
like
accounts and shit trying to
all of
follow
that
you
stuff.
around.
To minimize that is be honest up front. Yo,
But see,
Yep.
I'm looking for friends. I'm looking
Yep.
for some good sex.
this is
And
the
I'm
thing.
not. Go ahead, Wiz.
Is I should not to cut you off, but to piggyback on that is, so the what's the deterrent for truth telling? In the
Being
You
beginning?
told no. Being told no.
Yeah, you
Losing
might
the
not get the
benefit.
draws. Right.
Losing
You might
the
not get the
benefit,
draws.
right? So first, you have to have the characteristic to be
able to
willing
walk
to
away.
lose the benefit to tell
Absolutely.
the truth.
Right.
100.
100%.
Yeah.
Yeah.
100%.
That's what that.
But that's part of
Absolutely.
being honest. That's all part of being
People to
honest,
get.
though. I mean,
Because our society don't value the truth. If you really think about it, nothing about our society values truth.
that's a true
negative
right there.
If you tell people the truth, they don't want to hear that shit, and they don't have to hear it.
We
No,
in
that's
get
right.
we in get by society, get by culture. Just what I got to do to get by, and that's on a person. That's at work, like. And to me, that has nothing to do with survival skills. Like that's a roachy mentality. You know what I'm saying? That get by on people type of behavior. Like,
But
because
that's
the flip
that's
side to that.
society. We're greedy.
I'm sorry, what did you say, Sophie?
I'm saying that's because in society we are a greedy species.
I mean,
We are.
humans.
Yeah, we're just
Humans.
greedy. So.
But the flip side to that, like you said, Wiz, the flip side to that is and this conversation happens a lot of times in with men and women in the dating world, especially, is how, of course, and this is just, the stereotypical, right? Men will lie to get sex with women. When in fact, if you told the truth, many women would still fucking have sex with you. Many women are not opposed to having a casual partner, no strings attached, cool when it's cool. Like, you can do you and I'll do me, and then we do us, and we just keep it fucking 100. Like, that works for a lot of people, but lying is never.
That comes with self-confidence, Nikki. So what happened? You got to have the confidence to know that what I'm looking for is not going to be every person's or the average person's cup of tea. So I may have to go through more no's in order to get the right type of.
I have to be willing to put it out there.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, sure enough.
So
it works.
I'm gonna talk.
It does work, fellas. Trust me. There are many grown-ass women out here who are okay with that type of arrangement. Quit lying to get people in bed and starting an energy dynamic that doesn't need to be there for anybody at all. So the right way to do wrong in this situation, tell me the truth. Shit.
Well, don't leave it just on men. Women do a lot of lying too.
Yeah,
okay. Thank you, Q.
I'm not going to say that women don't. Women definitely should not be leading men on or telling men, certain things to get. No, absolutely not.
I'm not one of the ones who just play the well. Women do this too. I mean, no, a lot of women do it also.
Right. You're absolutely correct.
I've known women who they'll do it for even more emotional purposes. Like, they'll do it because they want that guy who's still gonna talk to them every night at 8:00, and if they're getting the type of attention that they want, then they'll tell that other person whatever they feel like they need to in order to get what they want. If this person, he compliments me and he takes me out and he treats me this way, they'll feed into your fantasy for the sake of them continuing to get what they want from you.
Yeah.
Look,
I've definitely heard some super scammy chick stories from some of my guy friends, so I know that them chicks are out there too. But like, do you think that their reason for not telling the truth is like the same reason for men not telling? I guess it's the same thing.
They don't want to lose the benefit. They don't want to.
Just to get what you want.
Sometimes their benefit ain't even their primary benefit ain't even sex. For men, they might not want sex. For women, they might not. I don't want him to give that attention to somebody else. I enjoy that attention that I get from him. Mm-hmm.
So it's just intention is like, if there's a lot, to me, I feel like there's a lot of energies that we don't necessarily pay attention to like we should. And intention is very powerful. Like, if you think about it, they can charge you with the crime based off of your intent, bro.
Yeah.
But in our everyday life, we don't really pay attention to people's intention. Like, what's your intention? Because that's going to determine the energy you bring with you.
True.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
True. Yeah, true.
And let me say this also, as I close out on this part of it, because I'm talking about how to do wrong right when it comes to fornicating or wear condoms. That sounds simple, but a lot of people don't do it. And in addition to wearing condoms, if you're looking for optimal results, you know what? No, I'm gonna say that one for the next one. But yeah, but I mean, just think about it. If it's somebody that you're not committed to, do you want to force a commitment by having a baby or forcing an ongoing relationship with somebody that it wasn't even designed to be that? Now you didn't force it to be that because y'all got a residual.
And I've seen many situations like that. Good
Had y'all not had a kid, y'all would not be dealing with it.
Would never be dealing with each other. Never would have made it.
Okay, so that's the first element of, we just talked about fornicating. Now, this is another one. I'm not saying it's wrong, but it's perceived wrong by some, and even it's perceived wrong by the people themselves. Hoeing. It's the difference between just fornicating and hoeing. If you out there trying to hoe, you trying to be a full-fledged hoe. Either you trying to or you're not trying to, but you're still succeeding in it anyway. What are, let's go down the list first. What are the potential consequences of being a hoe?
Like a for real hoe? Like,
I would love to hear what y'all say about this.
No. I ain't even. Ooh. No, you know what? I ain't gonna go there because I don't know enough about you talking about prostitute and hoe. I don't even know enough about that.
Well, I mean,
but just being a hoe, just being promiscuous.
But a prostitute isn't a hoe, though. I mean, to me, a prostitute's not a hoe. A prostitute, she at work. Shit.
Okay, so we ain't even talking about that right now. That's fine. Let's just talk about the hoe.
Well,
the promiscuous man or woman.
Wow. I mean,
what are the consequences of being a hoe? What are some of the?
I mean, everything. Just the total
bad reputation.
Yeah,
bad reputation.
Reputation. Your sexual status. As far as you got this, you got that. You know.
Am I catching something?
Yeah, catching something. Shit, really just understanding the transfer of energy during sex, like understanding what's going on and what you're taking and what you're giving to that person on whatever level. Like, I've heard people say, I mean, it ain't really sex if you use a condom because I ain't really feel shit. Like, people justify that shit. Like,
we ain't really have sex.
We ain't really do it. I didn't feel it. I didn't feel it. So, yeah, it's
I know that piss could be digital.
Interpretation.
But see, I think long term, it's like you get a criminal record. Some shit like that can follow you. Growing up in a certain place. And everybody knows your name. And then as you get older, and then you finally meet that person that you want to marry and settle down, and your name been drugged through the mud because of the things that you've done in the past. That stuff can haunt you. So my word, take this, everybody, all of y'all, don't be a hoe.
But if you are, no, we can get in that.
That's all you give me.
Now, Kevin talked about you having when it's time to settle down, it'll be hard for you to be fulfilled. If you,
that's a part of it too. I've seen some things that they've done some studies that saying women with less sexual partners are were considered in this study, they considered themselves happier if they only had sex with their partner versus women who had multiple sexual partners, then got married. They reported less satisfaction in their marriage. And I get that because, see, sex means something totally different for women than it does for men. And we try to make it be the same, but it's not the same. It's never going to be the same. The woman is wired differently. She has experience totally different than what we do emotionally, physically, everything. There's a show on the Black Mirror called Striking
Nikki
Vipers.
ain't seen it. She ain't seen
Game
it.
Like, it's some weird shit, like, bro. But I get what they were saying. Like, once he experienced sex as a woman, what she felt, he was like,
man,
nigga, this shit don't feel like that shit.
That was the weirdest episode ever. I watched that episode one time and it just threw my brain off. Like,
wow.
I got it though.
Right.
You see what I'm saying? I got it. Like, yeah, what she's experiencing, bro, we're not experiencing that.
Yeah.
So we try to make it be the same. Like, oh, did you come? Like, if you understand a woman's body and how she can orgasm, like, bro, yeah, she's getting way more pleasure than we are. Every time.
Okay. So let me ask this. Let's get to the meat of it. So if you hoeing, give us some tips on how to hoe. If you're gonna be a hoe, then how do you properly be a hoe? Now I'm gonna give you the first one. Y'all can jump in on this.
No.
I say one of the first things you do, outside of wear condoms, protect yourself. I think if you're a hoe, then you definitely should work on protecting yourself. Watch your circles.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You don't need to be doing everything in house. Like, don't, stay away from your best friend's cousin and your best friend's friend and people
that 6 degrees is something else.
Right, exactly. Get outside of the 6 degrees.
No, too, is the fucking first circle. Like, come on now.
Right. If you're gonna be a hoe and let me say it like this. If you're gonna be a hoe and you proud about it, you ain't got no shame, then this don't even apply to you. You good. Just hold the way you see fit.
Hold the way you see fit.
Hold the way you see fit. I'm gonna put that on a t-shirt. Hold the way you see fit.
I know we can make a shirt out of
This is the proper guide to hoe in.
But for people who, like we have talked about, they're concerned about having a bad reputation and things like things like that.
Right.
Or questionable reputation. You may not want to go. So you got to jump outside your listen. If you in North Austin, then you need to go out South Austin. Find you somebody out there.
No, if you in Austin, you need to go to San Antonio, because if you hoe in this city, everybody gonna know. It ain't gonna stay a secret long.
Maybe it depends on, you've been here for a long time, but like North Austin and South Austin, two different cities.
Yeah, but the circles ain't that big. It's only so many people in this damn city. So if you hoeing within the circle of who's who in Austin.
It depends on your exposure.
The race you hoeing with too. If you hoeing with anybody in Black Austin, you there. Bro.
That's what I'm saying. If you in the circle, it's gonna be out there. People gonna know.
Look, especially if you in Austin, you can't be around in the.
You can't be fucking in Black Austin. Austin, you fucking the same people.
No.
So that is one. Stay. Watch your circles. That's a circle right there. Black Austin is a circle.
And that's another those two other the two main superpowers that I believe in is 6 degrees of separation and proximity. Both of those can be your superpower or they can be your curse. 6 degrees of separation, you could know the right people. Like, you can know one person that knows the right person that you need to know. Right now, you know somebody in your network that I need to fucking know, and vice versa. Same thing. That's how all of this came up. That's how we were born. We were created through 6 degrees of separation. Somebody met somebody through somebody through somebody through somebody. And then proximity, if you think about proximity, it could be your superpower, who you're close to. Like if you're close to powerful people right now, if you were close to Barack Obama, this podcast would be totally different. You feel what I'm saying?
Right. Of course.
So proximity. But on the negative, proximity is the only thing that allows people close to us to give us energy that we wouldn't necessarily accept from a stranger.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Like a family member could be super toxic, but we got to deal with them because of the position they have in our life. That's my auntie. I ain't worried about them. But my uncle, he's kind of freaky. He makes these sly comments. But somebody off the street, we be like, hey, man, lock this motherfucker up. So proximity is very, like, we have to understand how these things connect. And that's what you're talking about in these groups. We got proximity, then we got 6 degrees separation. So.
I got another one, too. I just thought about this. So this is how to do wrong right. We talking about hoeing. Number 1, watch your circles. Number 2, how was I gonna word this? Try to stay away from one night stands. And that kind of goes back to what Wiz was talking about. How will you, a lot of instances, you're not gonna know how close in a circle somebody is if you then met them and smashed them the same day, and then a day or two later, then you realize that that's your your sister's homegirl or that's your best friend. You didn't even know how close y'all was,
right?
Because you didn't give it enough time to figure out
to see what
what's the proximity was, what the degrees is.
That also kind of goes along with the definition of hoeing. Ain't nobody trying to learn you. I ain't trying to learn. Right. I don't give a fuck who you friends with. Who people are. Like I'm in here for one purpose and one purpose only. So
there's a way to do everything.
You're right. And I guess going back to what Q said, you're trying to minimize damage, and obviously you want to make sure that you're not within those same circles, but that is almost counterproductive to the definition of hoeing.
Right. How you gonna be
careful? I'm telling you, if you can take your time, you can take your time and do it a certain type of way.
Sure.
It might not be the one night stand, but you can kind of interview a person, fill them out. You see what type of mutual connections y'all got, how many of the same people y'all know, the same circles you did.
You can still have a one night stand with that person though, after you've gotten to know them. So I don't know if one night stand is necessarily the kicker as much as it is knowing who you are and aren't fucking with.
Right, because you can know somebody for a while, not have sex with them, and then have sex with them
one time, and then never.
But it ain't even gotta. That's what I'm saying. It ain't gotta be one time. You can put them on.
But you said one night stand.
I know that's why I said, but I'm talking about hoeing right now.
Okay,
but a hoeing one night stand could be somebody that I know.
It could be, or you can put them on your rotation. You'd be like, all right, every Thursday.
I like that.
And then I can have me a Tuesday, a Monday. That's what old boy in State Property did. He called about the different days of the week. Mama, don't watch no more of this. If you watching that, you should already saw the title and know not to watch it.
You should have gave her the disclaimer from the jump.
Don't be watching this. So, but what I'm saying, so you can still, you could take your time and be a hoe and then get you a rotation going on. But these are people that you already kind of did some homework on.
Yeah.
There's some connection with, there's something there. It just has to be, everything is just about context. That's how I look at it.
Right.
Everything's about context.
And then on top of that, it's one of those things to where you want to give yourself time to. This one of the people told me not to have this conversation, but
I know, I can't believe she's
here. So even when you do that, then you're giving yourself not having a one night stand. You're gonna be home, but not having a one night stand. You give yourself the opportunity to see how they're going to respond when you be like, oh, I got to work in the morning. I got to get out of here. Are they going to trip out? Are they going to turn into a bugaboo or something else? Or you could learn a lot just by somebody. Oh, okay. Yeah, no problem. Just get back with me. I'm like, oh shoot. Okay. This person They're not gonna. Yeah, their response lets you know that they're not seeking for something more than what you are.
Right.
Like, all right, well, look, I'm down when you down, so just holler at me.
And that's why, from my perspective, you give that truth, because what you're really trying to do is you're trying to see what their response. If their response aligns with your truth, then there's something there.
Potentially something there.
Potentially, yeah. I mean,
sometimes people agree with you just because they still want to get what they want to get. But yeah, I know.
But there's some room in there where you trust yourself enough to give the truth, and you giving it. So, you feel what I'm saying?
No, I'm with you. So, anything else? How to Ivory? Do you have any comments on how to properly hoe?
Do you want to know her thoughts on how to properly hoe? Even
so, the whole statement is you shouldn't be a hoe. You shouldn't. But if you are, then this is the way that you should.
The most efficient way to hoe.
Okay. Anybody else before we jump to the next one? Anybody else?
You had it. Use protection. Be mindful of the circle. I mean, if you are concerned about your reputation, then you obviously have to be mindful of the circles that you get in. It is wise to get out of town to do your hoeing action. Pay with cash. Have a burner phone. I'm saying all these things, and I'm not a hoe. I don't do hoe activities. I don't do hoe shit.
You actually jumping into the next category, because you could be like, if you're a single hoe, you can use your phone, you can use your card, you can use all the. But the next one I'm about to get into, that's where some of those things you said come in play. And what we're talking about next is adultery or cheating. This is when you are in a marriage or committed relationship. Biblically, it's in a marriage, but I'll extend it to a committed relationship, and you step out with someone else.
Look, Stokely had to sign off.
Let me get out of here. Y'all trying to get me in trouble. Okay. So again, let's. What are the dangers? Why shouldn't you cheat in a relationship?
Oh,
because it's wrong.
Okay,
it's wrong.
Okay.
I mean, if
let's go here. How is it wrong? How is it wrong? Let's break it down.
Well, if we start with biblically, isn't that like you're breaking your tenets? You're breaking your vow. You're breaking your commitment. Like, so, I mean, technically, by definition of that tenet, that commitment, that vow to marriage, like you are actually breaking that. So it's wrong.
Breaking a vow, yeah. Okay.
Past that, it's it's ethically and morally wrong, and that's just my opinion, because it goes back to the lying and manipulating, the not being truthful, the not being honest part. If you're cheating, you're not being honest about something. So that's for me. That's my number one.
You're not being honest about what you want to do, but you're fearful that they want to do the same thing,
or that they'll leave if you.
I mean,
tell them you want to do something.
Look, and this is why there's such a problem with the dynamic or the context of the committed relationship. When you what's the option in a committed relationship when you get tempted, when one of the partners get tempted, right? When truth can't really be a part of that relationship, especially like if the relationship context is you're not supposed to want nobody, I'm not supposed to want nobody. Well, what happens when somebody else wants somebody? There's no level of communication that can be there, because in this dynamic, nobody really want to hear the truth. Nobody really want to hear the truth. He don't want to hear, I just want to go fuck this nigga tonight, but I love you, I want to be with you. Nobody want to hear that shit. So how can you tell it when that's your truth?
I don't know who's gonna let you just say that to them.
I'm just saying.
My thing is, if it's this is the person that you want to be with.
Yeah.
You don't want to cause any pain to that person, especially to that degree.
Right.
That's the part of it that is, anything. And this is what I know about, like, my wife. We can talk about anything. And I'd much rather come to the table and have the conversation. It may not go perfect, the conversation, but the space has been created to have that conversation before you do crazy stuff. So with that being said, I mean, you just don't want to bring that pain to. I wouldn't want her to bring that pain to me. You know, so. You know.
Okay, so you kind of jumping into the second part of my question. I want you to jump into this again. What are the consequences of cheating? And even that's one of them. What you're saying right there, bringing pain to your partner. That's definitely one of the consequences. Nikki, what else are you about to say?
Well, I'm not going to forget about your consequences question, but kind of piggybacking off what Wiz said. Like, I just feel as though when it comes to the marriage context, you either get married with the understanding that we're going to have a monogamous relationship, or you get married with maybe the understanding that we're going to have an open or a polygamous type of relationship. If you go into a relationship with the expectation that we're going to have a monogamous relationship, we're all naturally, you know, we're humans. We're going to see something attractive. You know, if I'm attracted to men, so if I see a sexy man and I'm with my husband, I'm not trying to fuck this dude, but I might be like, damn, that's a good looking man. I'm going to look. I mean, it's natural instinct to see something that looks good to my eye and have a response to that. I feel like if you have decided to get into a committed monogamous relationship, a marriage for most people, being with somebody else sexually isn't an option. So feeling like what happens when I see this dude and I want to have sex with him, or what happens when I see this chick and I want to have sex with her, like that's just not an option on the table. In this agreement of marriage that we've made. That doesn't mean that looking at somebody is off limits, but why, how, I guess, and that's the question that needs to take place in the marriage. Why and how am I allowing this, what word did you say? What word did you call it? This lust, that wasn't the word that you used, but this lust for another person, right? Like it shouldn't go that deep to where I want to sleep with somebody else outside of my committed monogamous relationship.
Okay, just to let y'all know, y'all going a whole different direction. It's gonna be hard for me to come back from it, but go ahead, Wiz.
That's in a perfect world regarding monogamy. And
right.
Again, having the expectation that two people can actually do this without having the extraordinary level of communication that brother talked about, right? Because that comes first. But typically in a monogamous relationship, you don't have that level of honesty going into it to even create the foundation.
We had a conversation like
right
that.
To have,
I don't understand why you need that level of honesty.
You know what I'm saying?
What do you mean, Ivory?
Like what do you, okay, this is what I'm saying. Even if you got tempted by something, or you found maybe I'm different, right? You got tempted, you found yourself in a situation where you felt like, this isn't going too good. I don't need you to come tell me that. I need you to just fix that. So like this whole open communication thing, like why do you need that to like be an adult and like get your stuff together? Why do you need to come talk to me about that? Like, I don't need that level of honesty.
Most people think they do.
All right. So
I'm with you, but most people think they do.
No, I got you. But all right, so this is my thing. So if you're my woman, you're the closest person to me, then why can't we go there? Because I'm gonna tell you, most dudes, they talking to the wrong counsel. They talking to the wrong fucking person. The person who they need to be talking to is the person that's close to them. And if we got a place that we can't go, I don't need to be with you. Because everything, it might be you that I need to come to and say, it's you. The reason why I want to fuck these other bitches, it's you. But if I can't come to you, shit, my partner gonna say, hey man, don't tell her that, man. Just fuck them other bitches. Handle your business. Be a
go
good
out of town, wear a condom.
That's just bad communication, though.
That sounds pretty hard to this.
Well,
that's gonna be the advice.
It happens, though.
But that's reality. That's real deal. That's reality.
What I
it's
say,
reality,
we don't
but
want
it's like
to know the
immature
truth.
Communication, though, like because if you saying it's you the reason I want to go sleep with these people, that's not really communicating what's wrong with our relationship. It's very easy to communicate with me that something's wrong with our relationship that's creating a disconnect that makes you not want to be intimate with me. You don't have to tell me you want to sleep with other people to have that conversation.
I'm not saying that.
If you're telling me
if that's the situation that causes the conversation, then I need to be able to tell you that.
I think it's immature.
If that's the situation that's causing the shit, I need to be able to tell you, be able to come to you.
Well, Wiz, the
That's what
problem
I
with
think.
that is, if she wasn't always the problem, then how does she become the problem later
Because
on down the
relationships
road?
goes through ebbs and flows. If you're
I
in a
know, but
long-term
even when I'm
relationship,
saying that,
if you're
even from a
talking about
relational
marriage,
standpoint, then that's still a two-person issue.
right?
But just saying the reason I ain't
No, I'm
the
saying
reason I don't want to have sex with you. That don't sound.
okay. Maybe I said that too blunt, but what I'm saying is,
It ain't even about blunt. It's
It's
about.
right. That's
It's
exactly
not
what it
blunt.
is.
It's about. It's not.
Right. No,
There's
you're
not
right.
an acknowledgement of a relational problem. It's like you
Right.
putting it like it's a you problem.
no, that's not. Okay.
Okay, that's how I
wouldn't
came
say
off.
it like
Maybe
that.
that's how you start the conversation, or at least put it on the table that we need to have a conversation. But maybe there's a better way to do. Maybe there's a better way to do that.
Right. But what I'm saying is the situation needs to cause the conversation. But if I know I can't come to you with a certain amount of shit, then
right.
What are we really doing then?
And that is a
I
barrier.
if I gotta handle the issues that I'm having that's making me feel like I want to be with somebody else. If I can't handle that with you, I gotta handle it on my own. I just gotta get my shit together. Well, part of my shit is you.
Right. We're married.
I guess
like I don't get that separate.
Let me give a woman parallel to what I see sometimes men would say is annoying, just to show you how that made me feel. It's like a woman saying, why can't I tell you I want to slap you sometimes? Why can't I tell you I want to call you a little B sometimes? And if I can't communicate that to you as my man, what do we have? Well, no, that's immature communication. For me to tell you, you make me so mad, I want to slap you, or I want to call you a little B. And then you say, well, don't tell me no mess like that. Well, who I'm going to talk to? My homegirl? No, I need to tell you I want to call you a little B sometimes.
But
no,
if you're a person that values honesty, then tell me that. Don't just look upside my head. Tell me that shit.
But
I feel you, because I'm like, if you want to call me a bitch, I want to know why you want to call me a bitch.
But Nikki and Wiz, that's the problem though. Even in that statement, to me it says you ain't done no real research. Like that's where the root of your issue is you want to slap me, and it's like. There has to be more than that. There had to be something else that make you want to feel that way. Why don't you discuss what makes you feel that way versus starting that I want to slap you?
Naturally.
I'm saying in the same instance where you talking about.
Well, that's what I'm saying. So that brings about the conversation of what's wrong.
Else. You ain't doing it for me.
But
that's
you gotta
not the
be
root of the problem.
Say that shit.
Right.
You gotta be willing to say it. Like,
agreed.
I'm not just gonna shut the fuck up and just deal with the shit myself and we in this shit together. No.
But what I'm saying is, even if you felt a way and you want to be honest and open, at least start at the root.
Right.
You slapping me or you wanting to screw this other chick, that's not the root of the problem. That's not
the
root of the issue. The root is let's start at the root and then get to that. But you starting at just what you want.
Of course.
I don't think you really did your homework on that. You know what I'm saying? I ain't talking about you. I'm talking about anybody who would just come who would start out saying that to their partner.
Who would start out saying.
And to piggyback you on that, Q, if this is how you're having that conversation, it's almost too late. You have let enough shit build up underneath your skin to get to the point where now I'm looking at somebody else thinking this is a possibility when you should have been talking to me a long fucking time ago about what is happening with us for you to be at that pull the trigger place.
That foundation and that credit, I call it credit. You got to have that credit between each other.
That is true.
Have that.
That's true.
Because it's credit. It's just like that. I got to trust you got it when you need to give it to me, and you got to trust I got it when I got to give it to you.
So is it safe to say that, like, do you think that more couples or less couples marry prematurely?
More.
You think more people marry
because
prematurely?
They don't know how to relate. They have unrealistic expectations for one on what marriage is going to be.
Mm-hmm.
Right? And less experience on what relating is. Because think about it. Most single people are not practicing monogamy while they're single. They're not practicing monogamy. They're really practicing poly. They this guy talking to this dude a little bit. This dude is the Thursday night. I kind of like her a little. Man, come on. And then we meet the one person that they like a lot more than all those other people, and make that monogamy.
Yeah, kind of.
Now you're trying to practice something you haven't been practicing for 3, 4, 5 years. You ain't been practicing monogamy.
Well, what I've learned the most about talking to poly people, there's a whole different level of openness and honesty that the average monogamous couple don't possess.
Right.
Their honesty and openness, that's if people could take anything from poly relationship, they're very open and honest about what their parameters are, what their, what the rules. They're set rules for everybody.
And the difference with monogamous people is their counsel or the people who they talk to are open with is everyone except for their partner. If you think about it, they talk to their girlfriends, they talk to everybody. My homeboys tell me the shit, and I'm like, bro, I ain't the closest person to you. I check that shit. Why don't you go home and tell her that? I'm not the homeboy that go with the bullshit. You feel what I'm saying? Why don't you go and tell her that? As easy as you showed me these hoes in your phone, why don't you show her that?
Oh man, that ain't no fun.
That ain't no fun.
We're trying to come up with the right way to do wrong.
Exactly. So
we're just trying to end
we look at that in context. That's really what it is, right? People ain't talking to their partner about shit.
I agree with you.
Bills, all the other shit, everything that's not important. That's what they talking about. They ain't talking about the real shit. And that's how we get to the point to where the conversation is, I want to fuck this, I want to do this, I want to do that. Because they haven't been building those bricks of communication to get to that point. To where when the situation, then the conversation is like, you saying,
but you know what?
Quentin,
what I learned also,
now it's starting at the root. It's not at the effect. You know what I'm saying?
A lot of monogamous relationships or even a monogamous mindset has so many doors that's already closed.
Right.
It's like, how can you? It's very like, how do you go about having those conversations? Even coming into the relationship, like
no deal breakers. You can have all kind of conversations.
Have no deal breakers, and you can have conversations. You said
most people, and I would say the majority of people do have deal breakers.
Because everybody got
to go into marriage without deal breakers, it's easy to talk about almost everything.
Yeah.
Everybody
agree.
Because nobody's afraid. Like nobody's afraid of being left for any reason when there's no deal breakers. So it opens up communication.
But that has to be exercised as well, not just verbally expressed, but exercised. So what I mean by that, you say, and you get this, a lot of people ain't no deal breakers. All right, you said that, and that's cool. But if you flip out on something small that I did, I ain't even talking about sexually something that I want to try later. Just say it's something small like ain't no telling. I forgot to take out the trash or something like that. And I'm hearing about that 3 months later, how I forgot to, and you told me you was gonna pick me up from work and you forgot. And it's like, if you gonna blow a gasket over small stuff, how can I really trust you when it comes to something that's more important to me? So a lot of time people miss it because they don't handle things well when it's small issues. So whenever if I get mad at my girl over something that was a small issue, or she said something, or I ain't like the way she did it, and then I got an attitude and I'm mad for 2 weeks after that, you think she gonna tell me some real stuff? She be like, no, you flipped out over that little thing. You ain't talked to me for 2 weeks. I ain't telling you nothing.
Right.
So you gotta, there's little quizzes that go on all the time that make a person be reassured if they ready to give you the real test when something big come up. If you failed all the quizzes, they ain't bringing the real stuff to you. They ain't gonna happen.
I need you to be honest with your heart, but not with your details. So I'm not with all that honesty. So, but I mean,
she said, I don't need to know.
I'm good. I want to know where your heart is as far as our relationship,
Right.
I know you're really here with me and committed. I want you to be honest about your heart, but you can keep all them details.
Okay, so let me really quick go through this. We jumped off a little bit. The consequences of cheating. The other person's spouse might kill you. How about that?
I thought about that earlier.
Damn.
Very real
You
situation.
yeah, if you
Seems to happen quite often, honestly.
You can lose your spouse.
Yeah.
You can, get a divorce. The spouse might leave you, and if you have children, now your children are going to be in a split home situation. What else? Y'all?
You can lose financially. You can lose.
Yeah, I was just gonna say financially.
God. Woo,
yeah,
you ain't lying about that.
Massive financial loss.
Not to mention family relationships, your reputation.
Yes,
people
and it's
that
not
respect
just
you.
your direct family. Also, you're talking about you got mother-in-law, father-in-law, brother, sister-in-law.
Well, then you've got your extended family.
People look up to you, nieces, nephews, all that. Yeah.
Your professional circles, your church circles, the social circles that you're involved in now look at you sideways.
Your whole community, everybody.
And that's Ivory. That's a big one that Ivory lost the intimacy
in your current relationship.
Right. Say they don't leave you, but now they just don't. Sexually they don't trust you anymore.
They don't want to sleep with you no more.
Yeah. The glass is broke. It don't hold water the same way.
One. Man, yeah. And then
break the glass, it ain't gonna hold water the same way.
And that's trying to make somebody feel you again after they lost that feeling. That's a tough thing.
That's why I say we should have that space to sit down and have these conversations with our significant others before we get to that point. I'm just saying, create the space to have those conversations.
You know what? They should have a checklist. They should have like an annual checklist, and you don't even have to come up with the question. So it ain't like you bringing it up. It's like a whole list of questions. Like, hey, baby, I ain't come up with it. I just reading off what the question. And that's the way you can get both of y'all can get all y'all questions and explore all the topics you need.
Yeah. Oh man. Yeah, it's costly. When you step out, it's costly.
Hell yeah, it's costly.
It is, man. It's costly in every way.
Sits my ass at the house.
Hello. Especially if you inadvertently start a second family, let's say you get your mistress pregnant.
I was reading how back in the mid 50s, 60s, it wasn't uncommon for someone to have two families, which was
a lot of men had two families.
I had no idea. I was just reading about that not long ago. How in Black communities it was common. I was like,
I mean, a lot of times it was
not to get off subject. I'm sorry, Q.
No, you're fine.
A lot of times it was necessary, just depending on the community and what resources were available. If you really think about it, like that's my grandfather's their era, my uncle and then them. I'm 52 years old, so I mean, my grandfather married my grandmother. She was 18. He was 32.
Damn.
She raised my mother, and they never had children. My grandmother that we just buried, and she raised my mother and them. And she was only 18 years old.
Wow.
So
it was definitely a different time, different era, different generation.
Right. Different.
I think that was more common than it is nowadays to have an older,
a different idea what family was too.
Right.
So,
you know what I'm saying?
So let's
back
go
then
here.
you kind of had to know who your people were, because if your dad did have multiple children by different women and you lived in a small town, you had to know so you weren't hooking up with one of your fucking brothers or cousins, or sisters, like. So having to do right in a wrong situation, you hella wrong for having multiple families, but damn, you need to let your kids know, because you've got 10 kids that are all born in the same 2 years. Like, bro, they're gonna go to school together. Like, you're doing dirt in your same city, probably within your same community. Like, that's extra dirty. So you gotta let people know, because there are people who have found out that they were fucking siblings, like when they had a baby together, and it's like, oh my God.
And for us, culturally, that was really the purpose of the family reunion.
Yeah. So everybody knew who everybody was.
Yeah. Them your cousins. Don't you do that over there? Yeah, that's what it was. See, I'm from them sharecroppers. I'm from the sharecroppers. I'm from them fields.
Think about that. That's a family
From the
reunion.
city.
Like, all right,
Yep.
you see her, look
House.
around. You see everybody.
You be
That's
like,
what
oh my
that's what
God,
it was
that did
for.
not just happen. Why are you here?
Okay. So hold on. Let me. We went thoroughly in detail
bad.
about all the reasons that you should not.
You should not
The
cheat.
terrible things that can happen if you decide to go down this path. But if you do, what are some tips? What are the best ways if you're going to do this terrible thing? What is the best ways to minimize exposure and consequences?
Ooh. I don't know.
So I'm gonna tell you what y'all can jump in here. I'll tell you what I got. Number one, again, stay out of your circle. Don't
Proximity, yep.
Don't be messing with nobody who both of y'all know, and that somebody who go to the same church as y'all, and
But
you got to
most
see
of the
this
time-
person every week. That's the way it happened most of the time, but
But
it's
because
not
you're married. You're in this circle of
get out your
activities.
circle. Get out the
And
circle.
proximity and 6 degrees of separation does this, bro. That's what happens.
Right.
It's at work.
Get
That's
out
why
the circle.
she got either work wife or work husband. Hey, how you doing? That you sure look good. That it's everywhere.
Don't mess with somebody messy. Do not mess with somebody messy.
Ooh,
So,
that's
yeah.
a good one, Nikki.
Don't mess with somebody messy.
let
Don't
me
mess with somebody petty. Don't mess with somebody who's dirty.
Let me say it like this. This is also what I was gonna say. Don't mess with someone who has nothing to lose.
Because they will lose it.
They
will
don't
risk
care.
it
They
all.
ain't got nothing.
They
And that's
will
why
risk it all.
this is
But
gonna be the
man,
most
it's so
terrible
hard.
thing I say all day. But this is one of that's the danger of being with somebody. You mess around with somebody and they single and they ain't got nobody.
But
they not losing nothing if they.
I know, but what we're talking
Post
about
a picture
is
you sleeping in their bed.
what we're talking about is such a crazy dynamic. It's like a seesaw, because it's like, how can you have high vibration of standard doing such a low vibration act?
You can't. You're low vibrational if you're doing low vibrational things.
You're trying to attract a person that's not messy, but I'm
You
trying
can't.
to do some messy shit.
Right.
So it's
I mean, but there's like levels to messy, right? There's some people who just go
And
run with it all.
Everybody like
But no,
I
agree with Wiz on this one. If somebody's willing to engage with you on this level, they're already a trash person at this point of their life anyway. Like,
well, but they may have been lied to. Maybe. Well, I guess in a the community, then you know. But
cheating around,
yeah,
you know.
True.
On this is like you're talking about making sure this is a certain type of quality of person. But if this person had any quality,
this person is cheating with
they
you.
would not be doing this.
Right. True that. True that.
That this person will be quality.
True.
It's just the logic of how does that work? If you understand the energy dynamic,
right?
Like if I'm on that vibration, what can I really expect?
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Dirt gonna do dirt. I mean, that's just you attract what you put out there. True enough.
Yeah, dirt and water make mud.
There's people out there who know how to play the game.
Yeah.
You need to find that.
Yeah.
And even they can still be considered a trash person, but
right.
I was gonna say they still trash though. They still trash.
Right. They just not
all trash ain't the
same.
Some trash. I got some trash that just got a bunch of styrofoam plates, and I got some trash that's full of dirty diapers.
Right.
All trash ain't the same.
All trash. We got a recycling bin. We got a glass bin. We got a cardboard bin. All trash ain't the same. I mean, it's still trash, but it's levels to trash.
And I'm not calling the person themselves trash, but in
they are.
In this relational area of their life at this time in their life, they're trash.
Right.
And some people don't. Can you hear me?
Yeah.
My baby messed with my levels. But some people don't consider that trash. Some people like, I'm not responsible for the way you decide to handle your life. I'm responsible for my life. Whatever we do, that's what we do.
Right.
Now, if you irresponsible on your side, then that's
your problem.
True.
But you know what's the crazy thing that I found about cheating? is a person is willing to be honest with the person they're cheating with, and they're dishonest with their partner.
Ooh. Yeah.
Like
There
you
was a
telling
post
them
about
cheater,
that.
you
There
telling
was
a
a
cheater
post.
There was
There
a
was a
post
post
about that this
that.
week
Yeah,
on Free
it's
Thinkers.
saying which
Yeah,
one
there's no
was
good law.
which one did he love? Yeah,
Yep,
Yeah.
Right, I
first
did
one, the
see that.
second one.
damn,
Yeah.
because he
and
100
a
with
lot of
her.
people were saying, but even the person that you 100 with, then that, like what Derek was saying,
Yeah, I
he
read
was
that.
like, you know, he being honest with the second one because there's no fear of consequences.
Right. Yeah.
If she say, "Oh, I'm done with her," okay,
Now
you're not
this
my
is
main no
where,
way. It don't matter.
right, and this is where he has the fear of consequence with his wife. It's
Right.
not him, it's the dynamic that he's in. There's no room for truth in that dynamic. That's what I'm pointing out. You feel what I'm saying? Does he have to run if he's in a dynamic where he can't tell the truth?
Huh.
But all these other dynamics, he could tell them straight up. He could come over here, talk to me all night. Wiz, man, what should I do? I tell him, man, go on and tell the truth. You telling me? Damn, it's easy for you to tell me every fucking thing. You go to the therapist, tell them every fucking thing. But this person is the person you value the most, but you can't.
But I still think it's a dynamic you're missing in an intimate love relationship, right? Because yeah, you could be truthful with your friends and all these people in your family, but you don't need these people to love you intimately, right? Which is not
Right.
something you can talk your way up on, do your way up on. Like a person has to feel that. And your levels of honesty and the things you say can destroy romantic love, and you can't get it back. Whereas with these other people, you have no threat of destroying
All right,
romantic love
so
from
what
being
is the
honest with
all right,
them.
so is
But you
so
can't just make a person love you. Like
and
they
that's
got
why
to feel
cheating
that. So you
and
have to
that's
be
why
careful with
cheating
your
is the number
words.
one option in monogamy. That's why cheating is the number one option.
Yeah,
Tell me
that
I'm
is true.
wrong.
No, that's true. No,
Tell me
it's
I'm wrong.
real.
That's
That
why it's
is
the
true.
number one option. You can't have an unrealistic expectation and then be in a real situation. It don't work.
I'm not
Yeah.
saying it's an unrealistic expectation. I'm saying you can't let whatever you want fall out your mouth and expect
I'm not
somebody to
saying
want
that.
to lay down and sleep with you.
I'm not
That's
saying
what
that.
I'm saying. So
I'm
you
not
can go
saying
tell
that.
your homeboy every thought in your head if you want to, because you ain't got to worry about if he gonna feel you enough to lay down with you. But no, you cannot be honest, that type of honest, with somebody you
Okay.
want to
Well,
really feel
so then
you in
cheating
that
is the
way.
number one option then, right? So
I'm not
cheating
saying
is the
cheating
number
is an
one
option.
option.
I'm saying you have to find a way more maturely to express your heart
Yeah, if you're
without
talking
that
about higher
level of honesty.
vibrations, Wiz, earlier, like you saying, your higher vibration is to, first of all, work on your communication
Work
to
on
where
your
you can get
communication.
to a place.
Exactly. I'm already
A part
there.
of the reason you can't communicate because you ain't been working on communicating, you know. And then when it's time for something real, then you haven't put in the hours of the work. Of course, I'm not talking about you. I'm just talking
No,
about
no, no.
anybody in
Right. And
general.
I'm
But
with you on
but I'm
honesty of
speaking more to the
communicating your heart.
dynamic of the relationship being having been able to have the ingredient of truth, being able to be that in the relationship. Like, what level of truth do you want? If cheating is not an option and communicating on any level like this, so what level of communication do you want if a person is tempted in a relationship? Let's say that. What level of communication? Is it when they get tempted, or is it just damn when they went out of town? What level of communication is acceptable?
Ivory said,
And
"I
it
just
goes
want
back
you
Why
to
to what
fix
would
it."
you
I
said.
don't need
It goes
none
back
of
to
that?
what you said in those little quizzes. If I told you this little thing, and well, I don't have the you don't have the credit for me to tell you this big thing.
Ivory just like, I need you to go fix it. Don't sit there and tell me about all your woes. Go fix it.
let
Whatever,
me
what's
be
wrong with you? Go fix the
Okay.
situation.
very clear. I want someone to communicate their heart to me, which is what is going on between me and you. And you can be completely open, honest. Hey, I've been feeling
Right.
down the last couple of weeks because you ain't been cleaning up, whatever. None of that would offend me. Like whatever it is, like get that out on the table. Tell me what's going on in your heart about our relationship. Now, you seen somebody cute and y'all end up kissing in the hallway, keep that mess to yourself. Like, I don't need what can I do
Okay.
with that? what can I do with that information but sit around, be butt hurt, and then our relationship suffers for months and I'm not going nowhere. Just
Okay,
keep it
so
to yourself and fix it.
all right.
See,
So
I think
I like it. I like it.
I'm
in the
different
process
than
of
most
fixing it,
women.
so in the process of fixing it, you walk up and see that. Is it not the same thing? It's even worse now.
No, it wouldn't be worse because I don't expect that level of honesty. But I mean, it would be worse for somebody who expects it.
Oh, so it would be worse if you walked up on it, and it would be better if he. It would be worse if he told you. Versus, it would be worse. It would be better if you walked up on it and saw him kissing this chick in the process of him fixing it. Right.
I'm saying since I don't expect those levels of details, if I walked up on it, I wouldn't feel betrayed because he didn't tell me because I don't want that.
Yeah, see, that's one of the things I've talked to
I got
several couples, and I they would all somebody get cheated on, and people will talk to me about that because they know I've been through those type of situations. And then it's one of the things I've heard on both sides, men and women. But but it wasn't just that they cheated, they lied. Why was they lying? I'm like, yo, lying is a part of cheating.
How can they tell you the
You
truth?
can't you can't sit
How
there
can
and
they
get
tell you
caught
the
up
truth?
in them lying. You can't expect them to tell the truth while they out there doing dirt. No, that's not the way it works. So if you're gonna get over the cheating, you got to get over the line. They go hand in hand. Right. That's what I'm like. So you be like, I heard people say I can get over past the cheating part, but I can't get past them lying to me.
Right.
Like you're gonna have to. That goes hand in hand.
To work, you want it to be right.
It goes
I feel like
hand
that's
in
a
hand.
cop out. When people say shit like that, I can get over the cheating, but I can't get over the lying. I feel like that's a total cop out.
Oh, okay. So Nikki, let me say this. This is one of my other things. When you cheating the wrong way, then do so. Oh, two things. First, don't be cheap. Don't do it at your house or do it at the house of somebody else who shared something. Right. You find somewhere else to do it. Don't take it home. And to go with what you just said, fess up when the gig is up. When the gig is up, don't run the lie into the dirt. When the gig is up,
don't keep being the same person. Just I'll do the right thing.
Oh, Quinn, let me add this, even though I didn't want to add anything to doing anything the right or wrong way. But keep your partner's name out your mouth. This is not the person that you are going to for now counseling about who you with. If you really still want to be with that person, then this new person that you messing around should not know all their business, all y'all business, all y'all issues in the bit. Like they should not know all of that. That is messy. It's rude.
That's ammunition.
You are really going to destroy your relationship if this person ever decides to tell.
But that goes back to what y'all just said. If you already doing low vibrational shit, you gonna do low vibration. You gonna be over there running your little sorry ass mouth to your new boo about your husband or wife to try to gain gain some more draws. You know what I'm saying? Gain some of that empathy.
You should have a separate friend for that. Absolutely. You can't. That should.
But I'm saying if you already participating in low vibrational behavior, which cheating is low vibrational. If you're participating in this, you're probably not going to have your fucking partner's best interest at heart and respect them to not talk shit about them to the person that you're literally cheating on them with. Like, most people
go hand in hand, bro.
Yeah, you already don't give a fuck about your partner because you're cheating on them. So why would you protect their image? Like Kevin Gates said, try to protect their image. Why would you try to protect their image?
That ain't necessarily the truth, Nick. I can't go that far with it.
On GP, Irie's right. But if you're cheating, you're not acting in GP. You don't have it. So, like, unfortunately, I don't think that that's a commonality.
Who cheated on their partner didn't care about them. I would not go.
Do what?
I would not say that every person who ever cheated on their partner did not care about their partner.
There's an absolute element of truth to that. If you are cheating on your partner, you don't care because you would have had an uncomfortable conversation with them about it to not get to that point. There's a level. There's levels.
There's definitely a level of disrespect. I'm certain that me and you are gonna have to agree to disagree on that.
Of course.
We ain't gonna get no closer to the middle on that one. I know that.
Of course, that's fine.
Let me say this real quick, and then we out of time. We ain't get to hardly nothing, but I'm gonna throw a couple other options out there if y'all want to talk about them. But
we'll do a little quick ones.
What does I say? All right, the thing don't be at your home though. It was something else that. Okay. So listen. All right. So we talking about adultery. All right, I'm gonna say it like this: you can get away with cheating. You can get away with cheating. Having an affair will get you caught 100% of the time. If you're gonna cheat, do not have an affair. It's not the one. That's just it's that. And that's what I call it. Is just the. There's a law of exposure to anything. I can slap somebody and get away with it. I might slap 2 or 3 people and get away with it. If I perpetually keep slapping people, it will eventually catch up, and somebody gonna beat me down. They're gonna shoot me. Something real bad gonna happen to me. You can't repetitively do something and expect that. So if you're having an affair, and then on top of that, because now your patterns are changing up, your routines, all of this, and it's super easy to see because man, we so simple. We got the same routine on everything that we do. It's more men. That's how men get caught easier than women do, because most men are not. Unless the narcissist man is the attentive man, but the average man is not that attentive to pay attention to detail and changes and habits and stuff like that. Unless you were the narcissist, they pay attention to everything. They know when you're about to get on your cycle, when you're coming off. They know all of that stuff. They know how long it take you to get home from work. They know when you get a day off early. They know when the kids got half of it. They know everything. They keep up with that stuff. But anyway, if you want to minimize exposure of losing your family and all that type of stuff like that, don't get involved in affairs. That's why you need to keep your emotions up out of stuff, because affair will get you caught. Maybe not the first or second, but the 35th time you eventually gonna get caught. The one time you not gonna delete that text message, and you're not gonna have your phone on vibrate. It only take one time. Oh damn, everything down the ish.
All right.
Now you shouldn't. Again, don't do it. The easiest thing is don't do it.
But if you gonna,
but people do it, and people been doing it.
That's what that's what I'm saying. That's why you can't not have the conversation, because it's been happening since the beginning of time.
It's just
so I had a few. Let me.
Okay. If you do end up don't have this other person really out here thinking they finna be the replacement.
True that. Don't be lying to the game. Crazy.
Right. Yeah, you're right.
When your man find out that you even conversated with somebody as if they could be replaced, your relationship is really over. Even if they could have got over it, it'll be hard to get over it.
And if you can, you need to exit yourself from that circle. So if y'all go to the same church and you've been messing with the girl at the church, you need to go start looking for another church. One of y'all need to, because that's one of the hardest things for people to overcome is when you kept this person in your proximity. So now the person, like, all this time I was around them and they smiling and saying how you doing,
that's
and what's
the
up, bro, and all that.
That's the manipulation,
and that makes it harder for a person when you're trying to reconcile. It makes it even harder for them to get over.
I gotta see these people, man. No.
Who else?
You got to think about exactly all that.
Like, man, it's a lot.
That's a whole, and you want to minimize how much it is when when your time comes,
when it fall out.
Yeah,
but it's gonna fall out.
Okay,
right?
So,
don't cheat. I agree. Don't cheat. Just don't cheat.
We keep saying that, Ivory.
Don't cheat, but it's like don't drink. And they say, well, if you are gonna drink, then don't drive. Get an Uber.
Right.
So what I'm saying is the same thing. What's the options? The options have to be some level of communication.
And that's where we come. Wiz, I'm glad you said it like that, because that's where we get to the place to where it's almost one of those, we can't talk about it, because if we do, then it's like we're encouraging people to do that. Right. And that's why it never gets talked about, even with kids. In relationships, people don't talk about it, because it's like, if we talk about it, then we gonna make it normal.
But it's a thing.
But just like you said, everybody knows don't drink. If you are drinking in public, make sure you get an Uber, have a designated driver, make sure you know you're surrounded. It's a whole, tell somebody where you're going before you go. There's a whole set of rules to say you shouldn't be out in public getting drunk. But if you do, These are the don't go to the restroom and come back to your drink if you left it unattended. It's a whole level
I
of
teach
rules.
all of these things.
All of that shit.
But that's what I'm
Everything.
saying. Why wouldn't we be willing to teach rules in other areas if we're willing to teach them in something like that?
Yeah.
Well,
If you gonna
I
smoke,
think
roll
that
your
we
own shit up.
do.
If you gonna smoke, don't just grab a blunt from a nigga. Just unless you know
I
them.
think,
That's
I
all
think
it
any
said.
couple before they get married should have a very honest conversation about what it looks like if the other person cheats.
I think
Like, to
marriage
really
counseling
talk through
has
that.
become more important now as I've gotten older than I ever thought the importance of that was at a younger age. Like literally just sitting down with a therapist and going over like the 10 questions to ask a couple who's about to get married type situation. Like this is where you sometimes learn who your partner actually really is. And it's like, I think that marriage counseling is, I think it should be required before you get married, really and true. I mean, that may sound crazy, but like, I just think it too many. I mean, it just feels like today at almost 44, so many people have gotten married for the wrong fucking reasons, and because of those experiences, have just like bled into society and this kind of crummy relationship like energy that you see with people right now who are single, you know, or even married people who are, you know, miserably unhappy in their marriage, but you know, for whatever reason can't talk or won't get out or am not going to leave. It like if some of these things were ironed out before or even addressed before we got into this committed situation that we are having a hard time getting out of or fucking up royally, like those questions need to be asked. So I think it is important, you know, like you said, if we talk about don't drink, or you know, if you're going to drink, fine, don't drive. You know, you asked about the hoeing question. I had that conversation with my daughter when she was in fucking high school, maybe early high school, about why being a hoe is not what we're going to do. It's just not what we do. Like, it's okay to have these conversations. And then like maybe, I guess, Mother's Day weekend when we were at the beach. I don't remember what the hell me and the kids were talking about. Oh, and because my oldest son, like we already know that my oldest son he's very curious to drink alcohol. Like I know that whenever he turns 21, if he doesn't do it before, obviously, but like when he turns 21, he's curious about alcohol. Like we know this. And so I made a comment about, you know, and I've told him all the reasons why I'm not thrilled with him, you know, wanting to drink now or drink before, or just why that's a no for me. You know, I've gone into the whole brain development, all the, you know, alcoholics on both sides of our family, like all the reasons why other than just don't do it. And I said, I don't raise drug addicts, I don't raise alcoholics, I don't raise thieves, and I don't raise whores. And my son fucking looked at me and he just started laughing. He was like, did you just say that? And I said, I absolutely did. And my daughter, Kasha, you know, she'll be 26 this year. She goes, I had this conversation about your age. I said, and you're still not a whore, an alcoholic, a drug addict, or a fucking thief either, are you? And she was like, nope. So it's okay to have these conversations. Obviously, you can choose better language than I probably do with my children, right? But like, we have to have these conversations because the alternative is a lot of us at 40 in unhappy marriages. A lot of us at 40 starting over. A lot of us at 40 having caused so much damage to our children and our partners and people that we swore we love because we wouldn't have these conversations or too afraid to have these conversations.
To me, it just gives you the practice to really be able to relate.
Sure.
Because you have to overcome certain hurdles and just relating with someone. I just feel like a lot of what we were taught relationship was just on the surface, what you could see, not any really deeper than that. And that is going to vary from partner to partner when you're along in your experiences in life. You know what I'm saying? And that all of that matters. So when you are with someone, and I love what you said, Ivory, you want the person to give you their heart. And I'm gonna tell you, for a man to be honest with you on whatever level, he is giving you his fucking heart. That is his heart. Because most of our experience has not been positive in giving women the truth. If you think about the black male experience, and if you were raised by a domineering black woman, you know what trying to tell mama the truth feel like. That's our conditioning. That's our start. That's our first relationship. all of that factors to get to a point to where we can start to communicate like that. It's just, you know what I'm saying? To get to that point to where, Nikki, you've had so many conversations with your children to get to the point to where now you have that credit to where you feel like they'll come to you and tell you when it's going on.
Sure.
And it's the same thing in our romantic relationship.
Right.
It takes the same energy to nurture a romantic relationship as it does to nurture a child. If you do it that way.
True.
Yeah, I think Wiz, when you're saying that, I think making deposits. It's making deposits with the people that you care about.
Exactly.
And the people that you care about, they feel comfortable enough to come back to you and have conversations.
Right. The bank is open all the time.
I like that. Make deposits.
You deposits,
exactly.
And they feel comfortable enough to come back and have those conversations with you.
Right. And for us, it is super hard to do that.
Yeah.
Because that means being vulnerable, which means, are you going to still love me the same? Which everybody's fear of judgment makes them lie. That's where the root of the lie comes from. It's judgment. Not necessarily they're a bad person, but man, I don't want to hurt you. So that's our first instinct, right? That's the nature of who we are. We fear judgment. That's why we lie.
Damn.
Them white lies, though.
Me and Q talked about white lies. Like, is that is that the doing wrong right by telling a white lie?
Just
like
kicking the can down the road.
I'm right. Like I'm not necessarily around the corner, but I'm closer than I was. So like, if I tell you I'm around the corner, is it the same thing? Like, is a white lie the same thing as a lie?
That's just lying. You ain't around the corner and you say you are.
We put that in the context of money.
But a white lie versus like a flat out hurtful lie. Are they the same thing? Are they not the same thing?
You know what, Nick? This is what I've learned about white lies, because I know people who tell a lot of white lies, but it still hurts their credibility over time.
True.
Yeah. True. Even the little I'm around the corner, but you were really
they not
minutes away. But after you say that 3 or 4 times, like I don't trust that you're.
Well, I always equate it to like somebody telling me
I could not trust your words.
True.
I have friends that'll tell me, they caught a fish this big and they ain't busted a grape on a grapevine. It's just one of those things. And you tell me that enough, and I know you're lying. I'm done.
30 pounds. It was 30 pounds.
Yeah.
So it's just kicking the can down the road to finding out.
Yeah.
I mean, it could be the same thing. I mean, we're talking about relationships,
Right. Yeah.
Your husband says you good, and it's always, I'm fine. That high pitch, I'm fine.
Right.
I'm fine.
I'm good.
It doesn't seem like a big lie, but over time, that stuff adds,
And that's what Nikki had a post somewhere. I think you put it said something about like shutting down is just as toxic as whatever.
What was it? Shutting down? Yeah, shutting down is just as toxic as not communicating or something? I mean, shutting down is the same thing, but then what was it?
Shutting down is just as toxic. I think you said like blowing up or something.
Yeah, maybe so.
Yeah, and it is.
Right.
It is.
Yeah, shutting down is definitely not. Shutting down is toxic, and I understood people's argument of, well, it's better for me to shut down than for me to hurt your feelings. But my argument on that was a grown person shouldn't be conversating to hurt feelings. I shouldn't have to be worried about having an honest conversation with you, and my feelings be hurt because you can't control your tongue. So I mean, yes, people are allowed to have their space to cool off. And people are allowed to leave the room. People are allowed to leave the house. People are allowed to cool down before they reach that boiling point. But to say, oh, well, I just shut down so I don't fucking hurt your feelings and go off on you. Nah, you have an issue.
But this is the other part to that, though. If you shut down in order not to blow up, and then you came back and you know what? Hey, I'm sorry. I needed to take a second. This is what's going on with me. I felt X, Y, and Z, I believe X, Y, and Z. And when A, B, and C happened, then now you're expressing yourself in a way that, but when most of the time it happens, people shut down, don't say anything,
and never come back to it.
Don't come back and address the situation. That's very toxic.
Yeah, like it, Sir Pro, like it never even happened.
Right.
Like,
And we're not
That's
doing
what they
that.
do.
We're not
It's
sweeping
just
that
like,
under the
let's
rug.
just move on. No, that's not.
no, that's toxic.
Yeah, we're not
Right.
just picking this up from where we left off.
All right, guys, it's 9:45. We touched about 20% of everything we said we was gonna get to, but that's cool.
Well,
It
just
was
out
good
of curiosity,
conversation.
what were the other topics that you had on your list?
So even the parts with sex, get into flirting. If you think flirting was wrong,
Okay.
and then what's the rules on that? Pornography. Do you feel pornography is wrong? Either single or in a relationship. What's the rules around that?
Okay.
Of course, stealing, lying, jealousy, breaking a commitment. More specifically, like breaking a commitment to a friend. Like, hey, Q, I need you to help me move. All right, I'll be there. And then you, all right, so, man, something came up. I ain't going to be able to.
Hey.
That's wrong. I think that's wrong. But it's like, if you're going to do that, how do you
But
go
what's
about
the right
doing that?
way to do it?
Have a way to do it.
Right.
wrong.
Yeah, don't be out there in them streets over here. You know, you at a pool party after you told them you can't be there to help them. And it's like, I'm supposed to pay. I give you money back Friday.
Right.
And you don't get, something came up, I ain't able to do it. Then you post
And it's
it.
next Thursday when you tell me this.
But not only that, man, you can see me. I just bought a new pair of J's, and I'm over here on Facebook showing my J's.
Right.
Like, you ain't have $50, but you got $350.
Yeah,
Okay, I got it. Gluttony, eating improperly, and just the good old fashioned church one, gossip. So it was some different topics that maybe we'll get back into one day.
It ain't no right way to gossip, but yeah, I feel you.
No, okay. If it is, who are you gossiping to? You don't want to gossip to the messiest people who you know is gonna get out there too. Make sure you thinking ahead as far as think ahead as far as not just who I'm telling. Who's this person's friend? Who's this person's husband? Who's this person's wife? Because there's certain people I might trust them, but they still gonna tell their best friend, or they still gonna tell their husband.
They're gonna tell somebody that's connected to this.
Right, and is that person connected to somebody who I'm gossiping about? Is it gonna get back around?
6 degrees that's why
separation. You shouldn't gossip, but you got to think about those things. Be mindful, speaking out of emotion.
Right.
You over here venting off because you mad at somebody. You don't even know if it's factual or not, and you just getting it off your chest, and now you got a whole other can of worms to deal with on the back end because now everybody know. So it's still even rules.
Gossiping rules. Is it true? Is it kind? Is it necessary?
But the whole thing about gossip, in most cases, we can't verify. So even throw your disclaimers out there. Look, I'm not sure, but I can't say this for certain, but. And it's a difference than acting like Some people be acting like they was there when it happened. Like, nah, just at least when you gossiping, give true context. I wasn't there, so I can't tell you, but this is what I heard. If gossiping is what you do. Anyway, we like to thank everybody for joining us. Thank you all for listening. Wiz, Stokely, Ivory, y'all have any last words or last thoughts?
Nah, it's been a while since I've been on here. I just appreciate y'all having me and this great conversation.
Appreciate you jumping back on with us, man.
Just getting my voice back, trying to get my voice back. So.
For sure. Stokely, what you got going on?
Oh, man. Just, work and life and family and all of that stuff. So I'm just trying to stay grounded and do the right thing, so.
What's your Mount Rushmore of comedians, Stokely? I'm curious.
Ooh. Carter, Pryor.
Okay.
Wow. These next couple, Bernie Mac, I love. And I may have to go back to I don't know who my fourth one would be. I mean, right offhand. So many of them have so many good, good qualities. I mean, timing, delivery, the way they set it up. It's just, some of them are amazing. And, I don't know who my fourth would be right offhand, though.
Okay. What's up?
Yeah.
You want to jump in on that, Wiz? You look like you're thinking.
Yeah, I got a little mix because I have these albums over here, and man, you guys are more than welcome to come hang out. But I got all these albums, and I got some comedy albums. So my comedy, it kind of spans over some generations, but definitely Richard Pryor. I got some Richard Pryor comedy albums. But oh man, Dave Chappelle.
Okay.
Being my new school person, I would have to say Dick Gregory. I got some Dick Gregory, man. Dick Gregory was amazing in the time in which he was doing comedy.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Bro, man, yeah. Dick Gregory is definitely on the Mount Rushmore. And then I would have to put the one female comic, and a lot of people don't know who she is, and I probably have about 8 or 9 Mom's Mabley albums.
Absolutely, yeah.
I got the vinyl, bro.
Wow.
Mom's Mabley albums. Like, she got this one album cover, and it's got this young dude, laying on the bearskin rug. She feeding him grapes, and it's like my new young thing.
Yeah, it's just so much to appreciate, like the good ones, though.
Yeah,
like I said,
that would be my mouth.
It's delivery, it's timing, it's setup, it's all, you know, and then you got people that could just tell a story that's amazing.
Right.
You know, so
man,
yeah.
Dolomite, man.
Yeah.
Rudy Ray Moore. There's a lot of we invented this thing, man. Like,
yeah.
For me, what we know as comedy, we invented it, bro. Like,
we had to do it to keep from crying.
Right.
Yeah.
Truth be told. Yep.
Death comes from the greatest pain. Ivory, what you got going on? You got any final words?
Don't do wrong, and check out High IQ.
You don't need to hear all of that. You don't need to hear all of that, Ivory. That's what she's saying. I don't need to hear all of that.
Voice of balance. We appreciate it. Yep. And check out High IQ if you haven't listened to it. It's really a good show. Very good show. Talk about some good stuff and very wonderful perspective. I go back and listen to it, and I get a lot out of it. So, yep, definitely check out.
Yeah, our last show was why do Christians have such a hard time talking about sex? So that was yesterday.
Yep. So again, thank everyone for joining us. Make sure whenever you hear this, you comment. The conversation never stops. And you can also join us on Freethinkers. If you haven't joined Freethinkers, make sure you join to the group as well. We have these type of conversations going on all week long, and on Tuesdays when we kind of have a culmination and get together live. So until then, I appreciate everybody. I see y'all when I see you. Have a good night.
Be good.
Y'all have a good night.